Rick, did you have a question?
No, I was gonna start kind of going into like specific tactics. So like we've kind of went over like getting to your spot, picking your spot. Like you've done this for a long time, and you bring up something that my dad used to do, which was you went to the Department of Forestry, got like topo maps and that kind of stuff. So while you might have historical data for some of these places, what are the things that you're typically trying to find on a rut hunt where you've got maybe 3 to 4 days to get in and get it done? You mentioned earlier you're not hunting a specific buck, you're trying to hunt a mature buck during that time. What are the things that you're looking for, if you're saying like you're in a midwestern state, or this that around this time of year?
Say if I'm just heading out and I hadn't been to the state, I've e-scouted a little bit and found me an area. Uh, a lot of times finding an area, I want to say a little bit about how I do that is a lot of times it's info, is word of mouth. Like I said, I've got in some real good places with folks word of mouth, and sometimes they wouldn't be telling me, but you overhear and you put two and two together to get in good areas. But after I find that area, I'm gonna have me a spot I'm gonna start. Like I said, I do a lot of hunting from water. So I've got a boat access I want to put in. I'm gonna go up and down the river there, and I'm gonna get out and put boots on the ground. And I know what I'm looking for because I've done it in this state and I've done it in that state and I've done in others. I'm looking for that funnel with structure somehow or another, with terrain or water. Is what I like to hunt. The river bottoms and stuff. I'm looking for fresh tracks, crossing them ditches and stuff. Big tracks. Big tracks and scrapes. Rub lines. A rub can tell you a lot about a deer's antler. The higher up he hits up on it, the longer his points are. The further back he hits, if there's a sapling behind it, the longer beams he's got. And then a lot of times, if he's twisting off saplings as big as your thumb, he's got enough tine length because he's getting up between them tines and twisting it. He's sitting there, especially if he just tearing one all to pieces, he's got some pretty good tine length a lot of time, or got multiple tine lengths. So a 6 point can't do that. He ain't got enough to grip it. And if he's got long eye guards, a lot of times he'll gouge that thing. He'll gouge that. He'll just see, you can see the marks in it, or he'll go up and down on it. So I pay a lot of attention to that. But like I said, we're looking for that right weather, the right moon, and when I find that spot, when I find that bottleneck, and a lot of times we like to really go, even though say we could leave. Daniel say he's going to leave on like a Wednesday. If the weather turns off super hot and the front's not coming through to like the next Monday, we like getting there like a day or two before that front hits. So we got time to put boots on the ground and find that spot, because we know what the weather's going to be when that weather comes. So we're looking for that good travel corridor. So with a good tree or something, we can get on that right side and go with that. Because like I said, I've killed majority of my big deer that day or two after the front. It's just year after year. That's just when it happens.
I have actually, I was talking to Chris and some other guys about this today, actually, because my cameras have been kind of dead yesterday and today as this front's moving in. I was talking about how historically I've just seen better movement that 1 to 2 days after the front. And what you were saying earlier, I definitely agree with, is you get a steadier wind. I've never had luck on real overcast days. Once the cloud cover kind of clears up, you'll get the wind, that steady wind out of the north. That barometric pressure will seem to rise. For anyone that might listen to like Terry Drury, he's real big, or Mark Drury, he's real big on that stuff, where you get the pressure rising, and that he'll call it like a high ceiling, right, where you don't have that cloud cover. I've seen better movement during those days. So I definitely think there's something to that.
Oh, you can pay attention. I'm like I said, I'm on several different apps, Kansas and Iowa and Illinois and Ohio and stuff on Facebook. And a lot of times you can tell when a major front, because it's coming from west to east, you can watch them days when them fronts hit, especially right close to the rut, and see folks start posting big deer. You can pay attention and follow that thing across the country. So fronts have got a lot to do. Fronts is probably the key on a rut. I say the moon second to when they're probably going to be moving, but that rut at the right time of the year is a killer. That's where I go back to say, being able to have time to hunt is what makes you a good hunter. Because you've got to be able, and I know a lot of guys are working, they got jobs, they got to take off, 6 months in advance. They got to put their schedule in, and it's hard for them to plan for that. They're off for that 1 week, say the 1st through the 7th of November. They got to take what the weather is.
Yeah.
But I would encourage everybody to really if you want to be able to kill mature deer, if you have a job where you can take off when it's right.
You had mentioned scrapes and rub lines and different things like that. Do you find yourself earlier in the rut focusing on like scrapes and that? And as you go through, let's say you're getting a little later in the year, do you stop hunting those at a certain point? Because I feel like I've seen, at least around here, once we get like past the first week in November, those scrapes really peter out and they don't get like hardly any attention.
Oh yeah. What I really like to say, the last week of October or maybe the 3rd week of October, if you get a rain front comes through and that moon phase falls right in the evening, seem like if that rain will stop about 30 minutes, an hour before dark, them suckers get up and come them scrapes and clean them out. That time of the year, they won't do that in mid-November.
Yeah.
Mid-November, they're gonna more wind check them scrapes. They're just gonna go way behind them and play the wind and just hit them that way. Oh, like I said, I don't really just set up right on the scrape. I'm more on a trail that's going to it, that's got that right feature that I'm giving him most of the wind. When he's coming up through there, he's got most of the wind. I'm trying to catch that little offset or in a curve or something, that bend in the creek or something. He's got to go around it just a little bit. Because most big deer I've ever killed, when they're roaming by themselves, that wind's pretty much in his face or quartering just a little bit. Very seldom he's going to turn around and go backwards. Most time he's going to be walking. I think when he gets up out of his bed, he knows which way he's going because of the wind. And I think he knows that a day or two in advance. I've worked outside my whole life in logwood and stuff. I can tell the weather when a front's coming just because how the direction of the wind changing a day or two in front. Yeah. When our wind gets southeast, here we got a front coming southeast, and the harder that wind blows, the more extreme that temperature change is going to be.
Your fronts come from the east?
Well, no, the day before it comes.
Oh, okay.
That wind will suck out of the Gulf, out of the southeast. Because it's sucking coming to it. Ours always gets southeast, and then even a little bit east, a day or two before the front.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I've heard Mark Drury talk about those, the first north directly after a south. So you get that front, and you'll almost have like that 180-degree wind switch, during, over the course of a day. I feel like there's a couple things going on there that I particularly like those days as well. One, usually with the front, you get cooler temps. So I feel like those bucks are wanting to move during those cooler temps. But also, I feel like if, let's say you've had a consistent southerly wind and then all of a sudden you get a big switch, they're going to move and switch their bedding, or they're going to have to move to different areas to scent check some doe bedding and stuff. So I feel like it's just a recipe for movement.
Well, see, I've got a place here that I hunt's got a big power line that runs east and west. So anytime you've got a north wind, and like I said, I can see 600 yards one way and I can see 500 yards the other way. So I can see 3/4 of a mile where I'm sitting on a hill. 90% of the deer is going to cross that sucker. If the wind's out of the north, they're going to be coming from the south going north. Just like you said, you can get a wind shift. Like say it's been out of the north for 2 or 3 days and it's still cool, but the wind starts shifting out of the south.
Wow.
You're going to be surprised how all them deer are going to go back from north to south now. I've set hours and hours on it. I've hunted that plane for 25 years. And I know what days I can sit and kill a deer. Ours is basically Christmas to the 10th of December. This is rifle hunting because I can see a long ways. But I learned a lot by just sitting on that thing and just watching deer. Because I always said, when the wind gets out of the south, they all get bundled up on the south end of the place. And then when you get that first end of the wind out of the north, they turn around and go back north.